400 years ago, someone in China wrote down 7 moments when you should never scold a child. No trials, no control groups, no brain scans. They weren't guessing, though. They had a whole system behind it, one where emotions and the body are wired together, where anger lands in one organ and worry in another. Different system, different language. And yet, here's what's on it. Never right before bed. Never at the dining table. Never when he's sick. Never in public. Never when he's already sad. Never when he's happy. And never when he already feels guilty. 400 years later, modern research keeps landing in the same places. Here's all 7. Number 1. Never right before bed. It's 8:30. You've asked him 3 times to brush his teeth. He's still on the floor with a truck. And this is when most of us finally say the thing we've been holding in all evening. The old list says don't. Whatever he did today, it keeps until morning. Researchers tracked young children's mood and sleep day by day and found the two run in both directions. A rough evening predicts a worse night. A worse night predicts a rougher day after that. So the cost doesn't stop when he falls asleep. It gets carried into tomorrow. This is the hardest one for me. Night is when you finally have a moment, the house is quiet, nobody's interrupting, and it feels like the only time all day you can actually talk to him. That's exactly why we do it. It's also when he's least able to take it in. One more thing. Children with a consistent bedtime showed better emotional control the next day, better than children who simply slept longer. And a fight at bedtime is the fastest way to blow up a consistent bedtime. Number 2. Never at the dining table. This one happens most because dinner is the one part of the day when everybody's in the same place, sitting still, looking at each other. So it becomes the meeting. And somewhere in there, the correction. The research here is about pressure, not scolding, so let me be exact. In one study, mothers of 3 to 6-year-olds were asked how they fed their children, and the more a mother pushed her child to eat, the more likely that child was to refuse. Healthy children arrive with working hunger signals. When an adult keeps overriding those signals, the child gets worse at reading them. A review of the qualitative work found the same pattern. Pressure at the table came with a bad mealtime atmosphere and a strained relationship between parent and child. Now, remember that system I mentioned at the start? The one where emotions and the body are wired together? This is where you can actually see it. The traditional Chinese explanation doesn't go through psychology at all. It goes through the body. In Chinese medicine, emotions map onto organs directly. Anger to the liver, worry to the spleen. And the spleen and stomach are where all of it lands. In that system, too much emotion of any kind damages digestion. Modern medicine doesn't make that claim, and I won't pretend it does. But notice this. 2 completely different explanations, 400 years apart, land on the same instruction. Not at the dining table. Number 3. Never when he's sick. Short one, and I'll be careful with it because I'm not going to tell you anything about treating a sick child. That's your doctor's job. But illness changes behavior. When the immune system switches on, it doesn't just produce a fever. It produces a whole set of changes researchers call sickness behavior. Low energy, a short fuse, trouble concentrating, a flat mood. It also loads up working memory, so it gets harder to take in what's happening around you. The honest caveat. Most of that work was done with adults and animals, not toddlers. No study has measured this in your 4-year-old. But the mechanism doesn't care how old you are, and it changes the whole picture. A sick child who's being difficult isn't choosing to be difficult. His threshold dropped, and his ability to take in your words dropped with it. You're not dealing with attitude, you're dealing with immunology. Number 4. Never in public. Notice what's different about this one. Every other rule is about when. This one is about where. Psychologists separate 2 feelings that sound alike and behave nothing alike. Guilt is about the thing you did. Shame is about the kind of person you are. That difference decides what happens next. Guilt points a child outward, toward the person he upset, toward fixing it. Shame points him inward, and the research there is consistent. Withdrawing, shutting down, pushing blame elsewhere, sometimes anger. An audience is what flips one into the other. When researchers asked younger children what shame felt like, every word that came back was about being watched, embarrassment, blushing, being laughed at, wanting to get away. So correct him alone, and you get a child who wants to fix it. Correct him in front of his cousins, and you get a child who wants to disappear. Those children were 7 to 12, not toddlers, and researchers still argue about how early a child can tell the two apart. But if you've ever corrected a 3-year-old at a birthday party and watched his whole body change, you already know something's happening in there. Number 5. Never when he's already sad. He's crying about something that has nothing to do with you. And right then it's tempting to add the lesson, because he's finally quiet enough to listen, because the point feels so obvious, and because you've been waiting all day for a moment when he might actually take it in. He won't. Neuroscientists have studied what stress does to the prefrontal cortex. That's the part of the brain that handles self-control, reasoning, and following a rule. Even mild stress can cause a fast, dramatic loss of those abilities, and the key ingredient is the feeling of having no control over what's happening to you. But run the logic. If mild, uncontrollable stress can shut down the reasoning part of a finished adult brain, what does it do to a 4-year-old's, which won't be finished for another 20 years? You're talking to the part of him that's currently offline. The words are fine. Nobody's home to receive them. Number 6. Never when he's happy. This one sounds unnecessary. Who scolds a child in the middle of his own good mood? Almost everyone. He's spinning around the kitchen because he's excited about tomorrow, and out it comes. Settle down, careful, don't get carried away, you'll be a nightmare tonight. Psychology has a name for that. Dampening. Responses that shut down a child's expression of a good feeling. Ignoring it, teasing it, telling him to bring it down. The opposite is savoring, where the parent joins in. Here's the part that stopped me. One study compared Chinese immigrant mothers with European American mothers and found the Chinese immigrant mothers used dampening more. Savoring, meanwhile, was linked to better adjustment in both groups. It's a small study, around 120 families, children averaging about 7, mothers reporting on themselves. And the negative link between dampening and children's emotional understanding was only marginal, and only in the American families. I'm telling you that because it's true, not because it helps. But look at the shape of it. A 400-year-old Chinese list says, "Don't pour cold water on a happy child." Modern research suggests pouring cold water is exactly what that culture tends to do. Which tells you something about the list. He wasn't writing down what people around him were doing. He was writing down what they weren't. Number 7. Never when he already feels guilty. Last one, and the one I resisted most. He broke it. He knows he broke it. He's standing there with the pieces and his face has already gone red. And you still want to say it, because if you don't say it, how does he learn? So the question isn't whether he gets corrected. He's correcting himself. The question is what your sentence adds on top. What it usually adds is an audience for his failure, which is the ingredient that turns guilt into shame. Guilt says, I did a bad thing. Shame says, I am a bad thing. One makes a child walk over and try to fix it. The other makes him defend himself, blame his sister, or shut down completely. He already started doing the right thing on his own. Your sentence can interrupt it. Researchers do point out that guilt can go too far. A child drowning in it isn't learning either. We are talking about the ordinary kind, the kind that sits on his face for 10 seconds and then makes him want to help. So, 7 moments, written without a single experiment. One last thing I noticed, and it changed how I read the whole list. In the original, he doesn't say children. The word he uses covers everyone junior in the household. He wasn't writing a parenting technique at all. He was writing something about people. Line all 7 up, and the same thing sits underneath every one. Right before bed, mid-meal, sick, in public, sad, delighted, already sorry. In every one of those states, a person can hear the tone of what you're saying, but not the content. So here's the one thing I'd ask you to try. Tonight, before you correct your child about anything, ask yourself one question. Is he in one of the 7 right now? That's it. You don't have to change what you say, just when. And I want to know, which of the 7 is your hardest? Mine is the first. Tell me in the comments. If you got something out of this today, subscribe to hear more.